We are just about a week away from our New Year challenge, which I'm so excited about. We have thousands of dollars worth of prizes, as well as just amazing momentum to start 2025 to get you guaranteed results and help you finally stop struggling on your fitness journey. I will say this is only limited to a certain amount of people, probably 5 to 7 people, and it will go by very quick with all the amazing things that are included in this New Year challenge promo. So all you have to do to apply, very simple, follow us on Instagram at ColossusFit and send us a message with the keyword New Year Challenge. Stop right now, make sure to send that message, and we will get back to you with how to join our challenge and get you guaranteed results. And I can't wait to help you. Now into the episode.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I am your coach and host, Josh, here with
his co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm fired up.
It's Motivation Monday, so let's jump right into it with our primary question, as always. So the first question is, I found it so inspiring that Kyle was still able to get some workouts in, film a podcast, and more with a new baby. You guys are so productive. What tips do you have for me to be like this?
Yeah, so this is a great question. And honestly, just to start off, like whatever I do in life, I just really try to think of priorities. And honestly, and some people may not like hearing this, I find people who don't like hearing someone talk about priorities, like they're often the people who will kind of not be as good at prioritizing. But for me, there's a certain amount of things in life that really, really mean a lot to me. Obviously, workouts, this podcast, like you will never find me ever miss an episode. It's a priority. Like when I end the entire day, if I say, hey, I need to get something done, my workouts need to get done, the podcast needs to get done. And those are some of the main things. Obviously, clients need to get taken care of, our social media, all that great stuff. And I usually just lay out a list of things that I need to get done in my day, and maybe if something doesn't get done in the day, I'll be able to push it back into the next day. Usually not workouts, I never try to push any of that back, but I just really try to pay attention to what matters most. And I guess when it comes down to obviously prioritizing, there's a list of really, really important things, and then there may be some things on the side where it wouldn't be as important. So if I have to put out a fire, if I have to do something, if I have to help my partner and whatever it is that I need to do, I'll be able to prioritize what's most important there. And if I have, let's say, a game booked where I'm like, I'm going to this hockey game. I spent $10 on tickets, but I have all these other really important things to do. I'm always going to choose that stuff over that other thing that maybe isn't as big of a priority. So I think I just am very clear on what's most important to me, what needs to get done, what I value. And I think that just makes every part of life so much easier when you're ultra focused and clear on that. So every decision I make is based off of the things that I stand for, my values, and what's important. And that's going to be my biggest and most important answer here.
I love this question because we haven't done a productivity one in a while, but me and Kyle are obviously big into productivity and hacking and optimizing our time and morning routines. And I can understand how overwhelming all of this can get. And I love Kyle's note about like, what do I need to get done today? Like, what is my priority for today? And even with a new baby, your priority for the most part of the new day is navigating that, right? Supporting your partner, supporting the baby, doing all that. And then obviously as life continues, each day will have different priorities. But I love that example of like in the morning, if you said, if I got done these things today, what would I need to do to say this was a really great day by the end of the night? And when you look at that, you can really start to prioritize what you need to be more focused on. And it's easy to really be overwhelmed when there's a million things. And you're like, I got to clean my basement, my main floor, I got people coming over, so my kitchen needs to be nice, I got to finish all my work, I got to work out. And you might say, okay, well, people are coming over, no one goes in the basement, I won't do that, but I'm going to clean my kitchen, so that's good. I'm going to get my workout done so I have lots of energy. And since I'm going to be doing so much cleaning, I'll cut my cardio a little bit short to get that in, and I'm going to make time for myself at the end of the day. So when you can really isolate what your priority is and what your focus is, and even for myself, I have like recurring tasks in my morning routine that when I know I do them, they're going to move me forward. An example of this is a workout that's going to help me feel great. It's also going to help me look great. It's going to help me move more towards my goals. I spend some time journaling, meditating, and these are things that are hard to craft time out for, but when it's a non-negotiable, and this is something I do daily, and when you repeat that thing over months and years, it's amazing how much it can stack up. So the more you can create routine and structure around it, I find that goes a long way to productivity. I also just love the idea of just tackling tasks. I think it's really easy to put them off and build them into bigger things than they are. And like overthink them for a ridiculous long amount of time. But when you just tackle them, it's the best. Like even recently we found like a little bit of mouse poo, and our house is pretty insulated from mice. And I've never really set a mouse trap before. And I've like always worried about snapping my fingers or whatever. And I wanted to build up, and I'm like, I'm just going to watch a YouTube video and do it. It took 2 seconds, but it's funny because that's something you could build up in your head. I've never done it before. I've never thought to do it, whatever. But when you just tackle things head on, it's the best. And if you have a big project you need to do, something that's overwhelming, just start. It doesn't need to be perfect, but when you take little steps toward that, it's so important. And then like Kyle said, when there's a period of life where there's a lot demanded of you, it's just like, what can I do to keep myself afloat? So maybe you're traveling and your nutrition isn't perfect. It's like, can I still hit my protein? Can I still get a healthy breakfast in? Maybe you can't do a perfect workout, but I'm going to go for a walk on the beach. So it's really meeting yourself where you're at and really just having a plan, making sure you're moving forward, evaluating that, being honest with the time you have available, cutting out distractions, doing things with intention. So more of an abstract answer, but hopefully that's helpful.
Yeah, honestly, like I think one of the biggest things is just like I try to think when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to get it done. And that's like people always ask, how do you gain more confidence and stuff? And I just say, follow through with what you say you're going to do. So even for example, if let's say a lot's going on, I need to take care of my dogs and make sure they're walked, and obviously not neglect that. And, let's say I'm going to take care and help the crying baby and she's a little bit active and whatnot going there. And I say, hey, Josh, I'm going to be filming this YouTube video. I'm going to get it on Monday. Like no matter what, if there's just a lot of mayhem going on, I may not do what I need to do in that current time. I'm going to take care of what I need to, but I'll still find a way to get it done. Like if I had to set my alarm at 5 a.m. to get that workout in because I know I couldn't do it later, or if I had to do that to film that YouTube video in a quiet and, non-distracted space, I would do it. And I know that I will get it done. And that's where I think a lot of people operate in a sense where it's like maybe not a priority and they're just like, oh, like maybe I'll get it done. And whenever I have those things that are like that, I just never get it done because it doesn't mean that much to me because it's like whatever. And so I always try to also make it clear to people around you like what you're going to do. So I like to tell people, hey, I plan on so I have a holiday video that I made like recently, and I said on our Monday meeting, I said, hey, by the way, I'm going to make this free training video to help more people, to get more people in our network, and I'm going to get this done. And the reason I said that was because I want those Josh and our other team member to hold me accountable. And I want to say that I'm going to do it so people know I'm going to do it. That's like saying, hey, I'm going to get this workout in and I'm going to hit legs. Like sharing the things around me with people, I find is very beneficial just because it holds me accountable as well. And that's another thing I do just to kind of hack the productivity system as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we'd love more productivity questions, so feel free to shoot them over, and we do hope that was helpful. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into our quotes. What do you got, Kyle?
This week I have a great one then. I'm always thinking of health. Like that's our full-time job. So funny enough, I guess it's not random that I'm always thinking of health. But this quote here is from LaLanne saying, your health account, your bank account, they're the same thing. The more you put in, the more you can take out. So I like this because I am always thinking of the future. Like I do try to be as present as possible. Not always that easy, but I think just because we interact with a lot of people, maybe at the gym or just in general where, their backs have bothered them, their knees are shot. Sometimes even we're kind of at that age where grandparents are starting to struggle and we see other people's grandparents. And anyway, so I'm just always thinking of like, how can I put in the absolute most right here so I can continuously take that out? And a couple of different examples would be every workout, every cardio session, every great healthy meal could be in 5 years when my little one's running around, me just being able to keep up and excel and, just do all those great things that I'm looking forward to. And I think it's just very rare. Like, I think even I see so many people are focused on like, business, for example, like I'm just going to make a lot of money and that's all that matters. And obviously you'll be able to, put that time in, you'll be able to take out money as a result here. The bank account, you're able to focus on that side of things, but then the health account is just being neglected and things won't be too great down the road when things hit the fan. So that's just my quote for today. And I hope it can relate to you in one way or another and motivate you as well.
Yeah, they say a lot of people will lose their health chasing money and then they'll try to use their money to regain their health. And it just becomes this vicious cycle. Whereas like when you prioritize yourself and you make sure you're progressing in these different areas and you accept them, that they are different. That's what's important. Like if you have all the money in the world, but you're bedridden and you're about to die, it's going to do nothing for you. Like health truly is wealth for a reason, and obviously you want to have the ability to live life how you want to live, but if you're neglecting it, it's time you take it serious. And especially if you are a professional who's doing well, you make that investment in yourself, that is guaranteed to pay dividends. And having that accountability, having that support to where you're focused on other things like your career, your family, it's so important. It's a lot to ask to manage all these different areas by yourself, and that's where that support is so instrumental. And there's never been a better time to join because we have our challenge coming up. It's going to be a big challenge. It's going to build you the momentum for 30 days. We're going to help you lose fat, gain muscle, and then we're going to support you for 2 months after that as well to ensure you don't just see the results and then have it all slip away, but we show you how to make this part of your lifestyle. So once again, if you want to learn more about that, just DM us on Instagram with the keyword New Year Challenge to secure your spot. So there might be a little gap in the editing here, but I realized I completely skipped over the what has us excited or intrigued. So Kyle, what has you excited or intrigued this week?
So we just completed a 5-week, I guess you could say, course slash like sim racing experience, and it was cool. I'm not gonna lie. And this is a little background. Like for those of you who know me, I usually like to win. I usually like to be on top, and I usually put in a lot of work. Whatever it is, any challenge, any competition, any sport, I'm usually pretty good at doing well there. So this was a completely different experience. We joined with really no expectations, not sure how it would be. I was told there'd be people that weren't as good and they were new. I ended up in 9th place out of 9 people. And it hurts me to say. However, I really encourage you to just try new things. Like honestly, when Josh, we were sitting down and he's like, hey, would you say you're a better driver from this? And I'm like, absolutely. I'm like, I was learning how to brake better. I was learning how to shift gears better. It was a really cool experience. And, you know, sometimes I do have to look past that part of like sucking and just not being good at something. And I know a lot of people who are in similar boats for something that they do where it's like, hey, I'm going to start at the gym. And then you look over and you see someone squatting 10 times what you can do. You don't know if your form's right, and you're just trying this new thing and you're just not good at it. But over time, you will get better. And I can promise you, if I were to continue to do this, and I will get a lot better. But it's just a friendly reminder because it's been a while since I've like started to do something where I'm just like, man, I just can't get it. And I'm like, there was one time I walked off and I'm like, this isn't like what I was expecting it to be, but it was just because I was new and not as good. But overall, it was a great experience, and I'm really glad I did it, even though I wasn't the best.
Yeah, it's even fun just getting out of your comfort zone, doing something new. And I mentioned even before the golf example, it is a great exercise to do something that might not come as naturally to you. And even, we were doing it with like some pro racers that are actually driving cars and stuff. And it was very humbling for sure, but it is a great opportunity to say, how can I even block out that noise and improve myself? And even as people who encourage newbies to go to the gym and get in there, it's always uncomfortable doing it, but it's even great reflecting after that time, seeing how much we progress, the highs and lows, realizing even sometimes eating that humble piece of pie and saying, wow, I have a lot of room to improve here. I didn't realize that I can improve this much. And it's always fun to have that challenge in your life. And I think the more you can inject safe, measured amounts of challenge, the more it's going to help you build resilience and strength to battle things that pop up in life, as silly as that sounds. And in general, sports are such a fun way of that. I think you could consider this a sport, maybe. I don't know if driving, I suppose, and it's technically sim, but it's a great way also to experience something without, like rock climbing, indoor rock climbing, bouldering is a phenomenal way to experience rock climbing without needing to go to some like Yosemite and pay a ton of money and climb a crazy, insane cliff. So like the more you can find different ways to try activities, or maybe you want to try something really bold, like you want to climb Everest one day, like go on a hike in your community first. So I think that is a really fun little note there and a great example.
Yeah, and adding on, just one thing there is like, I've tried a lot of different things these last few years. Like with Josh, we've done so much between rock climbing, chess. Like I'm just trying to think. There's been a lot. And, for me, the biggest thing and biggest takeaway there is, like Josh was saying, like trying to just force myself to focus on myself. So for example, I'd be getting lapped and there'd be times I'm like, man, this isn't even fun. Like I'm not that good, but I'm like, hey, if I can just run my own race here and just try to improve, try to get better in this, maybe try to set a record lap and do all this stuff, then it's still going to be beneficial to me. And that's why whatever it is that you're doing, and especially relating to the fitness journey, if you can just block out that noise and just be like, hey, I'm going to focus on hitting my own PRs, getting better form of just like doing my own thing. And when you focus on yourself, you can still make some great leaps of progression, and eventually you will catch up and do some great things. So yeah, that's a little bit of a rant there, but that's what I have to say for that remark.
Incredibly well said. Well, now we're going to jump into our client shout out. And this is my client, Kendra. I'm really proud of her transformation because it speaks volumes. If you head over to our Instagram, you can see it at ColossusFit. We post all the transformations there, as well as some tips that you can actually use. This is someone who is struggling, who's seen results. And as you can see, she looks like two different people with the amount of fat she's lost and muscle she put in on top of it. And to really just have a physique that she's incredibly confident in is what it's all about. So once again, if you want to lose fat and gain muscle, this is your chance to do it. And a big shout out to Kendra. But now we're going to go ahead and jump into our second weekly question rather. And that is, what is the best type of creatine?
So best type of creatine, simply put, is going to be monohydrate. It's actually funny, when I saw this question, I instantly thought of how many, like, there's this one guy out there who made a video, or it was like on Instagram, just like this, like, kind of, I guess you could say, scam creatine. Like, there's a lot of different ways people try to make these things unique and sound sexy. And it was him showcasing that the creatine dissolves right away. And he was like, this is why this is the best creatine. And then there's people who do other things, like there's like a purple K creatine. Like, people just try to get creative, especially with supplements. You got to try to stand out, and I don't blame them, but don't waste your money on that stuff. So creatine monohydrate has been tried and true. It's the one thing I've taken for 7+ years. Every single day, I will take 3 to 5 grams. I try not to forget on Sundays sometimes because I don't go to the gym. I kind of forget, but I try not to. And it's just, I try to stay as consistent as possible with it. You don't have to worry about loading. And I do find that monohydrate has just been proven to be the best and most effective form of creatine. And I use Allmax personally, the blue tub. I think it's been great. And that's my answer there.
Yeah, there's so many companies that'll try and really make this exotic and recommend gummies or a non-bloating type of creatine. And that's because creatine is very cheap. It's very, like, compared to any other supplement, I'm blown away by how expensive supplements are. I recently bought BCAAs, and I think I got like 160 servings or so, maybe less, maybe 140, let's say. Anyhow, it was buy one, get one free. I went up to pay them, like, it'd be like $40. And they're like $80 or something, or $90. I'm like, what? And this is buy one, get one free. And I was like, I remember when you get BCAAs for like 50 cents, less than 50 cents, probably 30 cents a scoop. Protein would be about 80 cents a scoop. And it's just absolutely absurd to see how much stuff has gone up. And even creatine, we've mentioned this before, even monohydrate used to be so much cheaper than it is, but relative to any other supplement, it'll be like under $0.25 a scoop pretty much for a monohydrate if you buy enough of it. Allmax is a great one. Really, any brand. You could get it from any of those different places that sell it. Some will have prettier packaging, but at the end of the day, monohydrate is monohydrate, and it's going to do what it needs to do to actually give you the benefits of creatine, which is helping your muscles utilize ATP for more output and power. So once again, I would avoid anything exotic because you're just paying for something that has no additional benefits, and that is just going to be marketing. It sounds sexy if I say it's no bloating, it's fast acting, all this stuff. But once again, science has proven time and time again that monohydrate is the best. And that's why I don't want to put too much stock into this question. I just don't want to dissuade you. I would just Google it. And the great way, even I'm sure you're wondering how the heck, what are you saying about this price per scoop? So if you're getting 50 scoops of protein for $100, you're effectively paying $2 per scoop for that protein every time you look at it. This would be a very expensive protein, and some could be this much, but this is a great way to kind of look at your supplement buying because a lot of places will really ream you, and if you're not careful, the packaging can be really confusing. Some will look like a massive thing, but it will hardly contain any product. And once again, I don't really take many supplements. I take BCAAs only because I think they're tasty. I haven't been using pre-workout. I mix it in with my creatine. Like, to me, it's something tasty to have during a workout. And that's something I enjoy taking with that. I take that, creatine, and then I have a protein powder I use sparingly, but that's about all I take. Like, you won't need any crazy supplements if you're utilizing just great foods, really leaning into that. I take some supplements. I know this is a little bit of a side rant, but I take like ashwagandha, I'll take vitamin B12, I'll take a vitamin D, and then I'll take like a multivitamin just to cover my bases, but nothing too exotic. And once again, if I don't take them, I don't really care. So you don't really need to complicate your supplementation. You're just going to waste money. You'll get way more from investing in a good routine, accountability, and most importantly, a good diet. Like, spend more money on your food and try to spend less money on your supplements.
It's a good time that we're actually having this talk because Boxing Day is coming up. And I know with the new year, it does seem like a lot of people tend to kind of go down that route of just like, I'm going to go to my local supplement store and just load up on hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I find New Year's usually the time that most people spend a lot. But yeah, honestly, just like don't give into it. Honestly, build up a great routine. Like if you were to just, I'm saying this straight up because I know for a fact like our program works. Like if you were to take that money you would spend on something bogus or on these fad diets or on anything like that and just put it towards the coaching and the New Year's challenge, I promise you'll be 10 to 100 times further down the road in the future just from having that accountability and that that customization. And we actually aim to save our clients as much money as possible. Like I've had some people send me messages like, hey, I'm going to the supplement store, what are your thoughts? I'm like, nothing. Like, you don't need it, let's focus on this. And they're like, okay, like they needed to hear that, but it's hard because they marketing is just so crazy. And we're going to be talking a little bit about marketing after in the next question, but that was a great talk. Probably we'll do another episode more based on supplements and stuff, especially with the new year. I find it's just so common that people are going overboard on it. And that's what I have to say there.
Last but not least, out of the mailbag, I find I always struggle with willpower. For example, if I'm in a food court or driving home, I always have the intention to get the healthier option or not get it at all, but I always end up caving, choosing something unhealthy or getting something I don't need. How do you guys avoid this?
It's a great question. And honestly, like anywhere you go, there will always be those things. Like at any corner, there will be probably McDonald's. There'll probably be just something. Like these people are great at being in the worst spots, but the best spots for them, unfortunately. And, I always look at these things, even like in a food court, you're sitting there, you're looking around. It's like 80+% of things are just like probably not going to be that good for you. Now, I never want to demonize foods, but at the same time, like we know there's some things that are not going to be beneficial to your goals, that are going to leave you craving more unhealthy foods, and there's really no benefits. It's just all a ton of sodium, a ton of processed stuff. And anyway, so we know that there's a lot of that there. And this is challenging because even myself, sometimes I'll struggle. I'll have the intention, I'll see something like, I know what I need to be getting here and what's going to be better for me. But then there's that other thing that's calling your name. And Josh and myself have been good at this because a lot of the times, like you'll see we eat out, we'll have, lunches, and pretty often we will do that and we'll always choose the better option. And it's just honestly for us, it's become a habit. Like there's not even a question. Like if we were to go to our burrito spot, which is pretty solid, and then beside there'd be like, we'd always see people going to, it's like I forget what it's called, Filthy Phillies cheesecake, whatever, some sort of whatever it is, it just is not good. And you could tell there's like nothing beneficial there. It's just never come across where I'm like, I'm going to get any of that. And it just doesn't make sense to. So I think for me, it's just always staying true to my goals and understanding what's going to actually be beneficial and just pushing myself for long enough to not cave into that, like what could be a better option or like would probably taste a little bit better for like a second. And I think like you just have to not allow yourself to consistently give in, because the second that you do and you're always driving home and you see that place that you want to stop and you're like, I'm going to do it, it's just going to become a habit. Whereas if you fight long enough and you start to choose that healthier option, just naturally it's going to become a habit and you're always going to choose that healthier option. There will be one or two times where you're like, you know what, this Panda Express or this whatever it is, like maybe something you want. But I always look back to like those moments, even myself, where I'd give into like a bourbon chicken, which is like this like, bowl that's definitely not that good for you. I'd always think back to how I felt afterwards. And I'm like, I'm going to choose the healthier thing because that's going to leave me feeling better. It's going to support my goals. And that's my answer for that question.
Yeah, even just make a habit of having the healthier thing. And if you're always weak at this time, maybe avoid eating at this time, or pack food earlier, eat dinner earlier, or pack like vegetable snacks so you're in a better frame of mindset. But even as Kyle said, for us, we'll usually get lunch and we usually go to this really healthy place where you get rice or quinoa, a bunch of vegetables, and then a lean protein, or a burrito place. Like it's never an option of like, yo, do you want to go to McDonald's today? Like if we opened up that bag and you multiplied that over the like 10 plus years we've been working together, it could be pretty bad. And we did start early. Like when we were first into it and bulking, we'd go get that crazy, like just mall, disgusting, massive, like really tasty, but really gross amount of food. And it didn't serve us. So when you build better habits and you don't even present these things as options, it is very freeing. The other thing that always works for me is like having that higher level mind and saying, by eating this better food now, I'll have more energy in the day. I'm going to be more satiated. I'm not going to be hungry later. And it's actually going to help push me towards my goals. Like, to me, that's always the saving grace. And I've really made a point to get in front of that. And once again, if you know you're really bad with this, even set a challenge, like I said, to try not eating out at all, or to eat out earlier, to get in front of it, to pack those snacks, whatever it may be, because you'll just end up shooting yourself in the foot if you do know this about yourself and you don't do something to change it. It's just really important you do some like reflection and understand like why that's happening. Are you getting that food because you're bored? Do you just naturally over order? Is there a healthier place you can always hit up and just have that guilt free? For us, we really like Chipotle whenever we have the opportunity, and even road trips, a great example. It's for us, like, we know Chipotle is going to be incredibly filling. It's going to stop me from being enticed by the snacks at the gas station. I can have a big meal. I can stop less. It serves a lot of things. I'm getting my protein. I'm getting some veggies. Whereas if I go and get a couple tacos from Taco Bell, a couple hours later, we're getting a coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. We grab a few donuts. Like, you can see how those are two very radical different experiences. So by doing the wise thing, and even with Kyle, one thing when we do road trips, we'll preemptively like search along the route and find a healthy option. And maybe it'll be like 20 minutes out of the way or something, but it also gamifies the drive where we have something to look forward to. And we know in that moment of weakness, I forget where we were sometime, but if we didn't preemptively know there was a Chipotle there, like, we were driving by all these places and we're like, oh, Taco Bell could be good. This could be good. And normally these are things I wouldn't care for, but because you're so hungry, it just puts you in this bad spot. So like, planning and prep and just being honest with yourself are like the biggest things here.
Last thing I'll say is most people don't understand how to navigate and what to choose and where to go and what's healthy and any of that stuff. And I've actually spent a good amount of time putting together a free resource for you. So it's essentially a fast food survival guide. And this stemmed from us taking so many road trips, trying to figure out what to eat, how to order. And we could do it. I could confidently say I can eat out every single day for the rest of my life, be healthy, still lose fat if I want to, and just it could support my goals. But that's because I know how to order, what to look for, what to say, sauce, no sauce, all that stuff. So anyways, free link down below. It'll probably be the second link down below. Just put your email in. There's no strings attached. You will get a free fast food survival guide. It'll give you tips, how to order at restaurants, like what to look for. I promise you, it can help you out, and you should be able to make choices, to be able to eat out on the go, to be able to make great choices and still succeed. So I want to give you that, and I hope you take me up on that free offer. And that's all I have. Make sure to also follow us on Instagram, ColossusFit, ColossusFit. Join the challenge now. I promise you this is going to be the cheapest it's going to be, and you're going to be able to get early access, early pricing, and you're going to get a discounted rate with that. So send us a message with the keyword New Year Challenge to Instagram at ColossusFit, ColossusFit.